What's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans Real Talk. Oh man, goddamn it's football season. We are here. We have made it all the way back around to football season. So you know we're excited to do this show today. We got a whole lot going on. A couple of upsets though in the sports world. A couple of big upset in UFC this weekend as well. We're gonna get to that later in the program. US. I'm just gonna shake my head on that one. But before we get into this big football weekend, let me introduce my co-host, my brother, the one and only Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on?
Oh man, it's my favorite time of the year, man. Football's back. And no disrespect to no other sport, but there's nothing like when we get together trip during football season. We got a lot going on. We got fantasy football, we got our personal interests, we got tickets. We at least five or six tickets in for every game of the week. It's a lot going on. I'm super excited to get to it.
Facts. Let me. You know what? I'm gonna start off the show. Shout out to Kyrie Thompson because he was up here early at 6:35. He ready for us to get to that Deion Sanders talk, and we definitely gonna get to all that Deion Sanders talk a little bit later on in the program. But we gotta start with the NFL because it is back, and again, we are football fans. Y'all see, we had the hip hop gamer to come on just so he could talk about the release of Madden. So you know what it is when it's that time of the year. Let's jump right in. Shout out to Pooh. She was asking us about that Chiefs Lions game, the upset to start the season.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Thursday night game. Um, I I don't know if it was that much of an upset just because once we knew that Travis Kelsey wasn't playing in the game, I think that kind of evened out the playing field, a little bit. With the Chiefs and the Lions, but I still thought the Chiefs could get a win in that game even without Travis Kelsey, and they damn near did. Shout out to the Chiefs defense, even without Chandler Jones.
Chris
They,
Jones.
they they did a phenomenal Chris Jones, excuse me. They did a phenomenal job stopping a very powerful Lions offense, one that we saw turn up all of late into last season. We saw them really turning up with St. Brown and the rest of those guys out there. Minus that Kadarius Tony, slip up, the Chiefs, probably still win this game if they don't get that pick six.
Yeah, so I mean, Kadarius Tony had two of the biggest mistakes of the game. The pick six is a play that literally bounces off his hands to Brandon Branch for a pick six, and then he has the pivotal drop on their last possession that would have at least put them in field goal range for a chance to win the game. Um, I like the Chiefs going into this game. I said I put it up on my IG and my Facebook the day of the game that I was going with the Lions with the upset just because the Chiefs were a little banged up. So it was more of an upset based on how shorthanded the Chiefs were. We got to remember, you're missing your best weapon on offense, which is Travis Kelsey. You're missing your best defensive player, but also they have a new offensive coordinator. Eric Bieniemy is no longer calling the plays there. Is back to Matt Nagy. So you figured that there would be a little bit of rust there with that offense, and it showed. They weren't as sharp as they normally are. Mahomes was himself scrambling around making things happen, but they weren't really able to run the ball against Detroit. They never hit any of the explosive plays that we know the Chiefs to create and make. And so it was an upset in the sense of nobody probably expected the Lions to win. But when you really look at the two teams that day, the Lions were the perfect opponent for the Chiefs, who weren't at full strength.
Yeah, absolutely. Much respect to the Lions though. They did what they had to do. That listen, and I hate when you get those tipped interceptions because it's like, what I'm saying, like I don't want to put that on Patrick Mahomes, but they did what they were supposed to do. They capitalized off the Chiefs' mistakes, and it helped them to start the season off with a very big win against the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Do I think the Chiefs are going to be good moving forward? Yes, because they're the Kansas City Chiefs. You still got one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in football right now. With Andy Reid, and you still got Patrick Mahomes. A guy that we've been telling y'all is already on the Mount Rushmore for everything that he's accomplished in his short career. The rest of those guys will start to fall into place. We see this every year. A lot of people thought, oh, Tyreek Hill is gone. They're not going to win another Super Bowl. Guess what? They won another Super Bowl. As long as the dynamic duo is back together and we get that Batman and Robin 1-2 punch with Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs will be all right. And Travis Kelsey will be back soon, and I'm sure they're gonna want a lot of get back this season since they started the year off taking that L. Um, you know,
My fault. I was muted there. Yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs long term would be fine, and that's why there was no need to rush Travis Kelsey.
hmm
He, had the hyperextension of his knee on Tuesday, so there was no need to rush him for a Thursday game. You let it play out. He gets a little bit of extra rest now before week 2. But more importantly, this is about the long haul for the Chiefs. As we've highlighted before, the Chiefs don't really care about home field advantage, though it's nice. They don't really need home field advantage. They've proven they can win anywhere. They're more about being healthy come December and January. So if Kelsey misses a game now or even misses another game, they'll be fine. Long term, they'll be fine. This was bigger for the Lions, though, because the Lions were one of the hottest teams to end last season. I believe they went 8-2 in their last 10. They had the impressive win against the Packers to end the season. And so for them, this was their opportunity to show the world, the football world at least, that they are legitimate playoff contenders. Had they lost that game, the narrative coming out of there would have been much different. The narrative would have really been it's the same old Lions who can't win an important game. They win that game. They kind of set the tone for the rest of the season, and I expect them to be a playoff team.
do you think the Lions win the division this year? Because I think the division now that Aaron Rodgers is not there, I think the division is wide open. And if they can, get a couple of more wins, the way they did this past Thursday night, I think they got as good a chance as anybody in that division. We saw what happened with the Vikings earlier today. We're gonna get to that in a little while. But yeah, I think the division is wide open.
Yeah, the Lions were my preseason pick to win the division. I think they're a 10-win team. I still think they're a 10-win team, even though this wasn't a game I expected them to win when the schedule originally came out. But they are a 10-win team, as you mentioned. I think the Vikings are going to take a step back. A lot of people are overlooking the amount of production that they lost from last year. No matter how you feel about Adam Thielen, yeah, he's a little older. That's still a guy that's reliable enough for 60 to 70 catches every year. You lose Dalvin Cook, a guy who has 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons. You don't just replace that type of production overnight. So I think they were going to take a step back. I don't think the Bears are ready to compete, and it shows today. A lot of people were excited about the Bears offseason, but you don't go from 3 wins to just a division winner. It's a progression to get to that point. And maybe the wild card of that division is Green Bay, because if Jordan Love is going to play like this, if that defense is going to play like this, they might be better off now without Aaron Rodgers as they're putting a smack on the Bears right now. They have 38-14.
Now, you made a statement. You said you don't go from 3 wins to division champs. I'm gonna ask you that question a little bit later on when we start talking about the NCAA.
Okay. That's a different conversation, but yes.
Because it's a team that might have an even better turnaround than that playing out in Colorado.
Absolutely.
But we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. Let me see what we got in the comments. Come on, we live already. Let me see. Yeah, we live. We live, Ron. We definitely live already. Let me see. Let me check the YouTube. YouTube is on. We rocking and rolling. I'll check Facebook in 1 second, but we should be on point with it. All right. Hold on, where we at? Let me go to Pooh's. I'm gonna go to Pooh's other comment right here because she's speaking my language with this one. And because this the Sunday night game. I'm glad we get to start the season off on prime time with a Sunday night game. Division rival with the Dallas Cowboys. Pooh wants to know who y'all got, the Giants or the Cowboys. Y'all already know who I got. I don't go against my team. I don't care who we got out there. I just won't answer the question if I ain't confident in their abilities that particular season. But I'm always going for New York, man. I can't pick nobody over New York. So I got to take the Giants in this one. Plus, I think they about due for a win because the Cowboys been beating them up the last couple of games that they played. They about due for a win. I think they can sneak in and get that little upset today.
So I like the Giants long term throughout the season because I'm a big fan of Brian Daboll. I like what they're doing, adding Darren Waller, but I still think there's a tough matchup for them. There are levels to it, and I don't think the Giants are on the Cowboys level just yet. So I expect it to be a close game, but I think Dallas wins. I believe Dak is something like 10-0 career against the Giants. The Giants have struggled to get pressure on Dak. We'll see if that changes tonight with the additions of Isaiah Simons to go with Thibodeau. But I still like the Cowboys to win in a close game.
See, I can't go against
I'm just
my guys though. I
I
can't.
no, I listen to Trip, but Trip, have I not been a big fan of Brian Dable?
Oh no,
Have I?
absolutely.
I've given him his props. I'm a big fan of Saquon. We know you know that. That's what I'm saying. That's an extension of the family right there. We love Saquon. But I do think that the Cowboys talent wise are just a little bit better. The Giants are on the rise. Don't get me wrong. They are on the rise. I just think this is a tough matchup for them because styles make fights, and the Cowboys play a specific style that give the Giants trouble.
Yeah, and I will say this: Eric is actually the reason why I gave Brian Daboll a chance in the first place. Because there was another head coach that I wanted to see the Giants go after, but Eric convinced me, yo, give him a chance. He did some good things in Buffalo, and after I gave him a chance, then I said, oh, you know what, I kind of like Brian Daboll now. You know what I'm saying? We rocking and rolling. The Giants made it back to the playoffs last year, got a win in. And I think there's been a lot of improvement, with that Giants team. So I'm very excited to see the Giants this season. But I'm gonna still take them tonight in the upset on Sunday Night Football. I'm still going with my Giants. I might switch my hat and throw the Giants hat on halfway through this show, just to just for a little extra added support for my guys out there because they need all the support they can get.
Hey, listen, I don't blame you. Again, it's going to be a good game. The Giants are, I think, in prime position to be a contender this year. Adding the tight end, getting a little bit more pass rush. The secondary gets another year of experience. So I think the Giants are ascending, but the
Yes.
Cowboys are just a little bit better. And I think also, you will agree with this. Uh, Tony Pollard is an upgrade over what they have from Zeke in
Oh,
terms of
absolutely. He was an
in
upgrade
terms of
last year and the year
right.
before.
But now that he is the guy, I
Yeah.
expect that offense to even be better. You get another year of Michael Gallup returning from an injury. You get Brandon Cooks as a slot receiver, who I think is a massive upgrade from what they had in the past there. So I think the Cowboys offense is going to be a little better than people realize too.
Yeah, I think it will be too. I think sometimes what happens in Dallas is Jerry Jones falls in love with his players a little too much to the point where he'll keep them around a little bit longer than they should be around. And perfect evidence of that is with Ezekiel Elliott, respectfully, but Tony Pollard should have been starting 2 seasons ago. We've been seeing the decline in Zeke, and Zeke actually had a solid game today.
He had a
Uh,
bad fumble though. He
yeah,
had a really bad fumble for them.
yeah, but it was time for him to go. 2 seasons ago. I'm looking forward to seeing what Tony Pollard can do as the lead back now because he's someone that can run the football and get you 80, 90 yards, 100 yards a game, and he can also catch the football out of the backfield and take off. He has that type of speed. So I'm looking forward to that. And on the other side of the football, adding Stephon Gilmore, they have a nice 1-2 punch in the secondary, and then you may arguably have the best play in defense. In that middle of the defense with Micah Parsons, who's he's getting ready to go after that Nick Bosa back. He getting ready to top what Nick Bosa just got contract wise, so he's gonna be doing a whole lot this season. Don't be surprised if Micah Parsons winds up being a defensive player of the year this season because he's coming for that back. He want to be the highest paid player in foot and defensive player in football next season.
I think to start the season, the last time I checked was a couple of days ago, but going into the season, he was the betting favorite in Vegas to
Mhm.
be the defense player of the year. So a lot of people feel that way as well, Trip, that Micah Parsons is putting himself in that conversation of the best defensive player in all of football. You add that in with that secondary that they have, and the Cowboys are going to be trouble for a lot of teams.
Absolutely, Ron. We're gonna get to the Michigan State football coach when we start talking college football a little bit later on in the show. So don't worry, we definitely gonna talk about that because this is some things we got to speak about. It's a couple of haters been hating too in college football, so we got to
What's
address
new?
some things.
What's new, right?
What I'm saying? We got to address some things, but we definitely gonna get to that. Cooper Cup. Oh, big loss for the Rams. Even though they've been hanging in there, having it's a rivalry game. That's a division game, so those games are always going to be tough. The Rams are hanging in there without Cooper Cup, but he's on the injury reserve, so he's going to miss, I believe, the first 4 games of the
Hmm.
season.
Yep.
But that's a huge. I mean, that would be a huge loss for anybody because we're talking about one of the best wide receivers in football. Um, Dealing with the hamstring injuries. Um, from what I've been hearing, those type of injuries, it's hard to really get back to where you were before you were dealing with hamstring injuries. So I hope we can get back to the. I don't know if we're ever gonna get back to the 2,000 yard Cooper Cup
No, we
season.
never get into that.
But if we can give me 1,200 yards, I'll be happy with that. Because I do like Cooper Cup. But as for right now, he will be out for the first 4 weeks of the season. We'll see what the Rams are able to do without him.
Yeah, for the Rams, they're gonna win today, which I'm really shocked by because the Rams don't have a running game. Their secondary, obviously, they traded away their best player in the secondary in Jalen Ramsey. They don't really have much of a pass rush anymore because it's only Aaron Donald on that front seven, up front seven.
Mhm.
Um, I really think that the Rams are going to tank it away very early this season and position themselves for Caleb Williams out of USC. Um, Cooper Cup, I don't know if they even rush him back even after the 4 games. It might be one of them things where they let him sit out at least the first half of the season. They're not playing for anything. The Rams have completely fallen off since winning the Super Bowl. And I saw a number where they had something like out of their 53-man roster, I believe 25 of those players are undrafted players because of the type of cap situation they're in.
Mhm.
So they looks like they're gonna get the win today. And Sean McVay did a hell of a job coaching it up today. But long term, I don't think there's much success that's going to be taking place over there with the Rams.
Yeah, and I will say this because we spoke about this the year the Rams won the Super Bowl, and we said they were doing everything they had to do that season in order to win this Super Bowl, and they did that. But we also said it was going to be rough after that because there's no way you were going to be able to keep all of those guys together. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey is gone. No more Odell Beckham Jr. Von Miller, who they brought in for the year to help out. So we saw this coming when it happened. So at least I will say this mission was accomplished because at the end of the day, it is extremely hard to win a Super Bowl. So the fact that they did what they had to do to get it, listen, everybody got to go through a rebuild at one point or another, but not every team wins the Super Bowl. So at least they were able to accomplish that.
I apologize. I made the ugly face because Tua just threw a dime to Tyreek Hill. The Dolphins are driving now with just under 3 minutes to go to try to win this game. They're down 4. Uh, if you haven't already, if you have Tyreek Hill on your fantasy team, he might have won this week for you. 10 catches over 200 yards.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill and that catch put him over 200. The Dolphins offense continues to be explosive. And this looks like it was the game of the day. The Chargers are up 34-30. It was a shootout. And like I said, it's about 2:30 left in the game. The Dolphins are deep in Charger territory. They need a touchdown for the win.
I'm definitely glad that I'm already winning my game because I went with Deshaun Watson this week over Tua to start just because I didn't know how we was going. I wanted to get a game under my belt first with Tua just to see how if he was going to be able to get right back to where he was before the concussions last season. That boy then threw for 457 yards.
And they're going to the 2-minute warning right now. The Dolphins, he just threw another first down pass. They're at the Charger 9-yard line.
Yes.
And it's going to be the 2-minute warning right now. I mean, Tua is balling. And as you mentioned, yeah, a lot was made about the concussions last year, but before the concussions really played a major factor, Tua was looking like the MVP of the league last year.
Yes.
And if he is healthy enough to play 14 games this year, he may win the MVP. They got those type of weapons. They have that type of explosiveness. It's a little disappointing that the defense isn't better because they have put a lot of money into that defense with Bradley Chubb, Xavier Howard. Obviously, Ramsey's not playing yet, but they got some studs on defense. So you wish their defense was a little better.
Yeah. Yeah. But they will get better once Jalen Ramsey comes back. I think he's gonna help with a lot of that, especially in the secondary. Even though the secondary is been pretty solid today, for the most part they've been containing Justin Herbert. It's been the running game that's really been kicking their butts because Austin Eckler he's picking right back up where he left off at 117 yards and a touchdown on the day plus a couple of receptions. So they definitely gonna have to step up. That front seven gonna have to step up a little bit more to keep them around because the AFC ain't no joke, man. This is probably going to be one of the most competitive AFC seasons we've seen in a long time, especially now that you have Aaron Rodgers with the Jets. So this is going to be a very competitive season in the AFC. I'm looking forward to it. Let me see what we got next on the run. Oh my goodness, you know what? I'm pissed off already, Eric. I'm
What's
pissed,
that?
I'm pissed off already, man. J.K. Dobbins, man. Come on, brother. You got this. You got to be able to stay on the field. Now you out for the season. I believe it was an Achilles injury
It's,
today. He had to get taken.
they've announced it's the Achilles.
It's the
Yep.
Achilles. He's done for the season. All right, like bro, you ain't been wasn't even on the field for 20 minutes, and you already done for the season, man. Man, I was looking forward to seeing him at the game later this month.
We
we're gonna
we
be at
will be
Colts, but he
we
won't
will
be.
be there in 2 weeks.
He might be on the sidelines. He might be on the sideline.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, I know I don't want to overreact. It is week one, but I think the Ravens were the team that I was most disappointed by today because they went out and they spent a lot of money on their offense, right? Lamar gets a new deal. They draft Zay Flowers. We knew that Odell was coming in. I expected this to at least be a little bit more explosive, and they didn't show me much today. I just thought, for you have all off season the game plan for week one. You
Yeah.
get a Texans team that ain't really playing for much. We know that already. The Texans got a rookie quarterback. They got a rookie head coach in D'Amico Ryans. They're starting from the ground up. This was your opportunity if you're the Ravens to really go in there and be impressive. And I didn't feel they were impressive at all today. Obviously, Dobbins getting hurt really, really like just dampened everything for them because now it's like, as you mentioned, he's hurt again. What are we doing at the running back position? This is an issue they've dealt with over and over again. But I thought they were going to be a little better offensively, and I didn't see it today.
Well, look, hold on. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt because similar to the way we saw Kansas City struggle without Travis Kelsey, you got to
Fair,
keep in mind Mark Andrews was not there today.
correct. He was
You
a
know,
late scratch today. Yeah,
yeah, and Mark Andrews, does for the Ravens, what Travis Kelsey does for the Chiefs. He's a big part of that offense, the same way Travis Kelsey is a big part of that Chiefs offense. So give him a little bit of time. Let Mark Andrews come back and get things situated because now we started the season off. First of all, shout out to Zay Flowers. Great game. It was good seeing Odell Beckham Jr. get back into the swing of things. But your the centerpiece of the Baltimore Ravens is Mark Andrews, who done crept his way up to probably being the second best tight end in football. He was not there today, so just give him a week. Let Mark Andrews get back into the rotation, and let's see how the offense runs. Because remember, the Ravens offense has pretty much ran through Mark Andrews in the past game for the past couple of seasons.
especially
Obviously,
in the red zone. Yeah, especially in the red zone. That's fair.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So
And
give him
Tua
a minute.
has don't Tyreek Hill has another catch. It's a touchdown. The Dolphins take the lead with a minute 45 to go.
I'm so glad I'm not playing. I'm not playing against Tyreek Hill right now. Eric, take over for 1 second.
Listen, this was an impressive game by the Dolphins. I like them to at least cover this game because I thought they were pretty evenly matched with the Chargers. But if this is the Dolphins offense that we're gonna get, and it doesn't look like Tua has missed a beat, and mind you, Tua didn't play pretty much the last 3 weeks of last season, including the playoffs. If this is the offense they're gonna get, as you mentioned, Trip, the AFC is gonna be very tough, and the AFC East is gonna be very tough. The Dolphins, man, this is an impressive game for them to go on the road and play this Charger team
Mhm.
and put up 35 points on them.
Now let me
30, I'm sorry, 37 points on them.
all right, now let me ask you this now. There's if you're gonna get this kind of consistency from the Miami Dolphins, does that change your pick of who wins that division?
No, because to me, I think that the defense in New York and the defense in Buffalo are better than Miami, and that will play a factor. And actually, they missed the extra point. So it's 36-34. The Chargers could win this game with a field goal, and it's a minute 45, so there's plenty of time. But defense does matter later in the season. Right now, you can get away with playing this way and scoring 36 points. But come December, when there's enough film on your offense, when the weather starts to shift, you got to be able to play defense. And I trust the defense that the Jets have and the defense that the Bills have more than what the Dolphins have.
Okay, that let's leave that open for discussion because that might change when Jalen Ramsey comes back because he is a difference maker.
Absolutely. And I don't think looking at the way the Patriots played today, I don't think we should just write off the Patriots because the Patriots looked really good against the Eagles today. Their offense really set them back. They were down 16-0 very quick. From
Mhm.
that point on, they pretty much outscored the Eagles 20-9 the
Yep.
rest of the game. So the Patriots not only hung in there, their offense showed some spark because Hunter Henry had a big game today. They right now, I believe the Patriots are going to probably get this ball back. Yeah, they just got the ball back with
They
just
have,
under 2 minutes, so they got a chance to win this game if Mac Jones can get a drive. They're at the 45-yard line.
yep. And I'm gonna tell you right now, um, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to miss Miles Sanders
Oh yeah,
because that running game is not, it's not looking the way it was last season, and that was a big part of why they were able to do what they were able to do in the passing game because Miles Sanders was running the football the way he did. So listen, they gonna have to make some tweaks because I was not expecting a 25-20 game going into the fourth quarter with the with the Patriots having a chance to come back and win this thing. Shout out to Mac Jones, roll tide because he's having a pretty good game. He had the one interception, but almost 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I can't complain. I'll take that from Mac Jones, a kid who struggled a little bit in his second season, but is if he can keep that consistency up, and again, especially right now he really does not have he doesn't have a legitimate number one receiver. They don't have a legitimate tight end like the Patriots have had in the past where you can kind of go to. They really don't even have a top running back either. So there's a lot of pressure on this kid. But to be staying close with a team that was just in the Super Bowl, to be this close in the game to open up the season, shout out to him. I hope he can continue to build on that. And if they do, it is going to make the AFC East even more competitive to the point where you know I don't know. We said that three teams was going to go to the playoffs this year
yeah.
from the AFC East, but if they can continue to build, and we know that Belichick is one of the greatest coaching minds that we've ever seen, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough division. I
I
tell you
think
that easy
I
wins.
I think today is a credit to Bill because, as I mentioned, the Eagles, even though they got 25 points on the board, they got 14 of those quickly off turnovers. They got the pick six by Darius Slay, and
Hmm.
then they had the fumble by Zeke that put them in short field, and they end up scoring right after that. You take them 14 points off the board, like I said, the Patriots held them to 3 field goals the rest of the game. And so Bill Belichick, I don't know if many teams are going to be able to copy what he did in this game because he did a lot of zero blitzing. He left his corners one-on-one, and he came up with a scheme to kind of confuse Jalen Hurts a little bit. He didn't allow Jalen Hurts to beat him with his legs either. So I
Yeah.
don't know if many teams could duplicate that, but I do agree with you. Miles Sanders not being there, you could see that already. There's a different level of disrespect, I should say, for that running game. We're not going to respect that running game. We're going to blitz the hell out of you. We're going to force Jalen Hurts to beat us from the pocket and not with his legs. And it looks a little different. And we got to see how that progresses, the next couple weeks.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, shout out to them, man. It's a close one. We'll let you guys know. For everybody that's in the live rocking with us, we'll keep you updated on the scores as those games start to close out. Let's get the Monday Night Football picks in. We got Bills at the Jets. A very very big divisional game to start the season. Um, Last season, both of those games were very competitive between the Jets and the Bills. I'm really looking forward to this game because again, and I've been texting you throughout the course of watching Hard Knocks on HBO, saying how much I'm getting into like, yo, I kind of want the Jets to do well this season. You know what? They looking good. They looking good out there. I'm taking the Jets in a close game at home to open the season. I think the Jets get it done.
I agree with you. I like the Jets a lot in this game. A couple things to pay attention to with the Bills. First and foremost, they got a new defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier. Leslie Frazier, apologize, is no longer the defensive coordinator. So you don't know how that's going to shape their defense. Von Miller is not 100% back. So what you saw at the end of the last year with Buffalo was their inability to get to the quarterback. I think that's going to continue. I think the Jets are a very good team. I expect the Jets to win. And Trip, for you, like I said, because I expect the Giants to keep it close, this might be a Bing Bong parlay situation where you take the points with the Giants and take the Jets. and you double up and you win that way. But I do think the Jets are going to win tomorrow. Jets win tomorrow is going to set up the overhyped matchup with Dallas in week 2.
Yeah, I definitely took the plus 3.5 and my
Take the
ticket
points.
for
Take the
tonight's
points.
game. I had to do it, man. They send you so many daggone deals. They pulled me back in, man. I tried to get away. Damn it, FanDuel pulled me back in, man. I had to put a couple of tickets in today. You know, it's opening week, and I'm gonna do one more for tomorrow because and for the Jets Bills game. But I had to do it, man. It's opening week, man. I got to put my tickets in. I'm sorry, man.
Of course. And I'm gonna put a ticket in for the late game, and I'm gonna have one in for next week too. I mean, I sent you. I won a little something earlier. I had a second ticket that's probably gonna fall just short on an anytime touchdowns. But we up for the day. We up already. So we're gonna try to double up some more and see. And it looks like the Dolphins are gonna win. They just sacked Justin Herbert on 4th down. Another disappointing loss for the Chargers, man. Another disappointing loss for them. But for Miami, very impressive to go in to LA week 1 and put up 36 points and come from behind. They were losing most of this game. Come from behind to win.
Shout out to our good friend Will Gordon.
And
I know he's sick right
oh,
now.
he's sick. He was mad at me on Friday because I told him I picked the Dolphins were one of my upset picks for today. On the
Okay.
flip side, Trip, if you don't have it on already, Mac Jones, oh, he might be called out of bounds. They look like the Patriots are going to get first down at the 9-yard line. I don't know if that was Kendrick Bourne. I don't know. I think that's Kendrick Bourne. He didn't get that second foot down. He would have been first down at the 9-yard line, but that second foot did not get down in time.
That's crazy.
But the Patriots are driving, man. The Patriots are deep in Philly territory right now. And this is the beauty of football too, because sometimes we forget. Last year, Philly got a lot of the breaks. And that's not a knock on Philly. And that's for any Eagles fans, that's not to knock what they accomplished. But that's how it happens. You got to get some luck to get to the Super Bowl. The Eagles didn't have to really deal with injuries last year. They didn't really lose any close games because most of the time they were up big going into the fourth quarter anyway. The very next year, sometimes things get a little different. Sometimes you start to lose those close games. Sometimes you got to deal with some injuries. Sometimes, the ball doesn't bounce your way the same way. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for Philly this year, because I think though they're a very good team, I don't think they're going to win 13 games again.
No, and again, they took a huge hit in the running game, and it's evident early on. You're seeing the difference in them not having Miles Sanders in the backfield. I think that they're still going to be a playoff
And
team.
they're going to survive. Yeah, they're going to survive. That that was 4th down, so they're going to hold on. There's only 24 seconds left. Kudos to Mac Jones. I'm sorry to cut you off, Trip.
No. Yeah, I was saying, yeah, I think the division is open. I think it's going to be a toss up. You know what I'm saying, to who wins this division. So yeah, the Eagles gonna have to figure some things out. Maybe they might need to look into trading, calling the Colts too. Because I told you I wanted the Ravens to call the Colts and get Jonathan Taylor now that J.K. Dobbins is out. But the Eagles might want to look into calling the Colts as well, and to see if they can steal Jonathan Taylor and throw him back in their running game, because they're going to need it this season moving forward. This is not a season where this is like it's going to be any surprises. We know who the Eagles are. We know they're a Super Bowl caliber team. And teams are going to get out of bed to play the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to figure some things out. Let's get to some USA basketball. I see Hoopball is scooping in the comments right now, so let's get to that. The USA men's basketball team has failed to even medal in the FIBA World Cup. I know this is not our best team, but I thought Steve Kerr did a shaky job coaching. He acted like Austin Reeves is better than Brandon Ingram, which is crazy to me. Just your overall thoughts on the tournament. Will Steph Curry and Durant and the Dogs return next year? Let me say this, because there's a couple of things that I want to say in regards to Team USA. Okay, so first and foremost, US don't give a damn about FIBA. I'm sorry. I just got to call a spade a spade. Our top dogs, as you call them, Hoopball or Scoop, they don't give a damn about FIBA. They don't want to play all them damn years. They get out of bed for the Olympics, right? That's when you see the big dogs coming to play at the Olympics. So we already know, excuse me, that we're going to be seeing our B and C players. You might even see a D player as sprinkled around in there as well. We already know that because we don't care about FIBA. Yeah, it's great if we win if we get the gold in FIBA, but we don't really care about that. They care about the Olympics. So that's one. Right? Two, when you're talking about international play, you are dealing with teams for the most part that have been playing together for years. Now you may have some NBA players sprinkled around in there. Obviously, we got Luca. We saw Dennis Schroeder with Germany. You know, half the Canadian team is damn near is a couple. The younger guys in the league with Dylan Brooks and R.J. Barrett and Shea Gilgeous Alexander, right? But for the most part, those countries have been playing together, so they already have a chemistry that's been built up. Whereas with the NBA players, it's kind of like the All Star team, but you just throwing these guys in, and for the most part during FIBA, it's the younger guys. It's not our grade A players. So that's two. All right, and then three, if when you look at the group of players, right, this is usually in FIBA, you getting the next generation of NBA superstars. That's what usually happens, right? But when you talking about that generation of from the Anthony Edwards class and the Mikal Bridges and the Jalen Brunson and those guys, the two best players from that group is not playing right now. One of them is Ja Morant, who can't stay out of trouble, and the other one is Zion Williamson, who can't stay healthy. Those two guys make a huge difference if you put them on that USA team. So we're not even, and again, and you can even throw in Trey Young because Trey Young wasn't out there. And he's one of the leaders of that next generation of players. So I'm not surprised that the US didn't win the gold. I'm not surprised that they didn't medal. Because we know what it is and we have to accept it for what it is. Top tier players don't care. And again, the chemistry with the teams around the world, and we're not putting out even the best players from this generation.
Well, I'll start off by saying this, and shout out to Who Ball a Scoop because he had a great post up recently where someone was talking about the Team USA and not being able to use the excuse of we don't have our best players, and that is true. We don't get that excuse. Who we sent over is who we sent over. We knew what was at stake. Most importantly, we were just trying to qualify for the Olympics. That was the main objective. Make sure you qualify. Other than that, if you win, that's icing on the cake. If you don't, you're going to receive backlash. We know how it goes. But we don't get to use the excuse. We sent over who we sent over. With that being said, though, I do 1000% agree with you, Trip. I think too often we forget in these type of tournaments, FIBA and the Olympics, these are teams, other countries, I'm saying, who play together consistently for years. They don't just get together one summer and then say, all right, let's just go run and try to go get a medal. They've been playing together for several years. So it's no different than what you saw with the Denver Nuggets, where it's a team who plays together for years. And then when the moment shines brightest, they show up because they know their offense. They know where their teammates going to be. Team USA and Steve Kerr specifically are in a very tough spot because you bring guys in on a year-to-year basis and you expect them to buy in. And these are all guys who are used to taking 20 shots on their team. Hoop Baller Scoop made the comment about Austin Reeves playing, being better than Brandon Ingram and playing over Brandon Ingram. It's not that he's better than Brandon Ingram, but for what you need for FIBA, Austin Reeves does fit you better because you're not going to let Brandon Ingram ISO and get 20 shots a game. You need him to defend and play and rebound. Those really aren't his strong suits. Austin Reeves, who's a guy who's used to being a rotational guy, is going to fill that role better. So what we should really, as he mentioned, is what we should focus on is who are we sending for the Olympics? The big dogs will be out there. Who Ball a Scoop? I don't know if Durant and Curry will go. I think one of those guys will go. But more importantly, we're going to get Jason Tatum. We're going to get Devin Booker there. We're probably going to get Bam Adebayo there. We'll probably get Jaylen Brown there. So we're going to get some of the big dogs. And what we won't see guys like Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis ain't got no business being on the FIBA team. And no disrespect to Bobby Portis, but he got no business being there.
I'm sorry I had to laugh, but you are absolutely right.
If Bobby Portis is making your 12-man roster for a FIBA, you already know we really scraping the bottom of the barrel for guys to play, right? So we know already that the big dogs will come out. Trey Young will probably be there. Now, as far as Ja and Zion, I don't know. Ja, I think could have made an impact. Zion, I don't know because I don't know if his game and his skill set would have fit FIBA. Again, you got to be able to do multiple things. You got to be able to defend. You got to be able to play team-oriented basketball, and that's where the U.S. struggles sometimes. And even when we look back at the Redeem team, what made them special was how selfless those guys became. Melo
Yes.
was willing to be a spot-up shooter. You know what I'm saying? Braun was willing to be a facilitator. Bosh was willing to just be a rebounder. You know what I'm saying? And then Kobe will close out games as the guy.
Yeah.
You have to be selfless. You look at the team we have now. The fact that Anthony Edwards was our best player should let you know everything you need to know. Anthony Edwards is in his third year in the NBA. He should
Yeah.
not be your best player in international play.
And he won't be when we get to the Olympics. So
Right.
just
He
when we
won't
see
be.
it, he's not
Right.
going to. He might not
As,
even be the team.
as much as I love Jalen Brunson should not be your starting point guard in international play.
Yeah.
Like, again, look at the guys we're relying on to win. These are not even guys who are all-stars in the NBA.
Yeah.
And so when we say, oh, we lost to Germany, who they got? Well, they got a bunch of guys who ain't all-stars either. So the playing field is level. But if we send our best guys, we will win. And I expect the big dogs to be there.
Yeah. Let me go to Kyrie Thompson's comment because I know this was something that was big in the headlines, and I did want to talk about. Did y'all see Noah Lyles' comment on Lithuanian win over the USA? So I want to go back to what basically he was upset about the NBA champions calling themselves world champions. So that whole rift started, and it's kind of been a little bit of a back and forth now. Um, I get it from the I guess the technical standpoint because they're not playing international play, during the NBA season. So I get it from the technical standpoint. Yes, Noah Lyles is right. They're not playing in international shit. They're not playing against every country around the world. Now, they are playing the best players in the world though. And that we know is a fact. The best basketball players in the world are playing in the NBA. That's it. That it's like if it's like the URL is the top battle rap league in the world, the NBA is the top basketball league in the world. If you're winning championships in the NBA, 9 out of 10 times you're gonna win around the world. That's why we've only seen, I want to say, over the past maybe 30 years, one Team USA loss in the Olympics. I think it was 2004, I believe it was. The
Yeah,
year we
before the Redeem team. Yeah.
yeah.
With AI and those guys.
Yeah. All right. So if you're looking at it, the USA doesn't lose. When we put our best players on the court, we don't lose. And outside of the loss in 2004, once the United States kind of leveled the playing field, because at one point we were sending college players only to play against professional basketball players from around the world. And yes, the United States was getting their butts kicked because you're talking about young kids playing against these grown men from around the world who again have a certain level of chemistry because they've been playing together for years. And the Olympics is not the same as the NBA game as the college basketball game. Same thing with FIBA. It's two different styles of basketball play, right? But when once we got to the point where the US said, hold up, if y'all putting y'all pros out there, we gonna put our pros out there and show you who really got the best players in the world. And no one has really been able to check the USA, with the exception, like I said, with the exception of 2004. When we get to the Olympics, Team USA is running the show. Facts. And when we come back around to was it next year? I believe the Olympics is next year, right? We come back around next summer, and when you see the game coming, don't be surprised when teams start getting smoked out of the gym.
I mean, listen, Noah Lyles, I get it, right? But this is one of those comments that's purely based around shock value. And I'm just using the Yankees as an example because we're both from New York. When the Yankees get to play in the championship round, what is it called, Trip? It's called the World Series, right?
Absolutely.
Right? Because Major League Baseball is the #1 baseball league in the world.
Yeah.
right? No disrespect to what's going on in China. The best baseball team in China cannot beat the best baseball team in Major League Baseball. And for those that don't believe me, look it up in the wintertime. The best baseball teams in America go overseas and play, and they normally beat up on those teams over there, right? Same thing with football, same thing with basketball, every other sport. The
Football's
best,
not even close.
right? But what I'm saying is, in the four major sports, the best in the world play in the leagues here. Now, to take it a step further, if you want to say purely based on Noah Lyle's comment that it's not the world champion because you didn't beat the best team overseas, if you took the best team from overseas and put them in a series against the Denver Nuggets would smoke them. All right.
Of course.
Let's not pretend like for as great as Luka Doncic is, Luka Doncic was a two-time MVP overseas, playing in the best European league. Luka Doncic has not been a top 3 MVP candidate in the NBA.
Talk about it.
So don't tell me that the best team in Europe, if you took the best team in Europe and put them against the best NBA team, they could not hang with the best NBA team. And it don't matter where you played it at. In a series, they could not hang. In one game, maybe. In one game, yeah, anybody could win one game. If you played NCAA tournament style, one game, yeah, they can hang. But if you're telling me we're going to take the best European team and they got to play the best American team and the best 4 out of 7, that European team wouldn't even be a top 5 team in America. So let's cut it out. Let's cut it out. Now, if you want to get on the play on words of, oh, it's not, you shouldn't be the world champion because it's only played in the United States. All right, cool. That's fine if you want to say that. But let's not pretend that the best team in the NBA cannot beat the best European team. They'll beat them all the time. It wouldn't even be competition.
Yeah. Let me say School Poop got 2 questions. I'm gonna put both of these questions. I'm gonna go with the second one first though. What's bigger, the USA gold medal or the NBA title?
Scoop, you know that answer. You know that answer.
I got honestly, I gotta go with the NBA title because again, you're playing the best players in the world when you're going for that NBA title. Like it is what it is. And that's not to say there's not great European players in the NBA because I think arguably the best 2 players in the NBA right now are not from the United States. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic. Are the 2 best players, and neither one of them are from the United States.
Right.
But the competition level here is different. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a reason why a guy like Stephon Marbury can, at the end of his career in the NBA, go to China and be Michael Jordan and have multiple statues put up because of the dominance that he showed while he was playing in China. There's a reason for that. The talent level is not the same.
Remind me again, how many finals and MVP Steph won in the NBA?
None.
Oh, okay.
0.
So
that's Brooklyn. So you know,
right? And we love Steph.
Yeah,
but let's keep it a buck. It's not the same. This answer, Scoop, you know the answer to this question. It's an NBA title. Because if the U.S. gold medal was bigger than the NBA title, we would never look at Carmelo Anthony the way we do. Because Carmelo Anthony is a 2-time gold medal winner.
Right.
So if that gold medal meant more than an NBA title, we would not be talking about Melo as a guy who, but he never made it to a finals. He never won a chip. The NBA championship is more important than winning a gold medal. Now, winning a gold medal is great for your country, and it's a great moment to have with your countrymen. But I bet you, even if you ask the Joker just played in the FIBA championship today. I bet you he'll tell you winning that NBA finals was more important than this game I just played for FIBA. And it's going to be more important than the Olympic game I played too.
And I will tell you this, if it's easy to get to the answer, because if it was more important, then you would see the top dogs playing in the FIBA tournament. If international play was that big of a deal, we wouldn't be just waiting to the Olympics for our best players to play, right?
Right.
It's good to be like, yeah, we're just gonna put the stamp on it to get the gold medal, but we already know what it is.
Right. I mean, Pau Gasol has said as much as well. Pau has raved about the opportunity to play for Spain and play with his countrymen.
Yeah.
But look back at his speeches. The first thing he talked about is winning those championships with the Lakers.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's facts. So man, it's definitely the NBA championship. Let me go to your second question, School Poop, and then we're gonna get to the WNBA because I see the WNBA comments up there, and I've been waiting to talk about the New York Liberty. So School Poop says, let me ask y'all all before y'all move on with the Olympics next year. Give me your 12-man roster. Who would you take to play? I don't believe LeBron's gonna play. Well, I would love for LeBron to be on that 12-man roster just to get one more Olympics in before he calls it quit. I know it's a long shot, but who knows? Maybe Braun might just be like, yeah, whatever. I'll go one more round, with the guys and be the elder statesman out there. But Steph Curry, I would love to see him go because I don't. Steph Curry hasn't done the Olympics yet. So I would love to see Steph. Devin Booker. I wouldn't mind Kevin Durant going back over. Uh, Let me see who else do I want to see play. Um, Jason Tatum, of course. I think he'll be there. Anthony Davis. I would love to see Anthony Davis back playing in the Olympics. I mean, Dame, of course. I want to see Damian Lillard back out playing for Team USA. Let me see who else is there. Is there anybody else that though I'm like, all right, they got to make the team. Uh, let me see. Who am I missing right now? Who can we sprinkle? Who can we sprinkle around? We got who's the other big men that we got? Because it can't just be Anthony Davis. Ain't the only big man we got left, right?
So the big man joint could get interesting because Embiid is a U.S. citizen. So
Oh, if Embiid is with us, then we taking
yeah,
Embiid.
Embiid could technically represent the United States. But if you don't want to go, if Embiid decides not to, I think AD is a good answer. Bam Adebayo could be an option as well.
Or
And
Jimmy
then
Butler. I wouldn't mind seeing Jimmy Butler go.
Jimmy, yeah, but in terms of big men, I was gonna say I think Evan Mobley. You could go with some younger bigs
Fella. Okay.
like
And
that.
I wouldn't mind seeing Joel because Hakeem played for Team USA too.
Hmm.
So and that was a big deal for us. So like I would love to see Joel Embiid play for Team USA. That would be
Yes,
dope. Um,
there's a couple options. I'm gonna say I like the guys you mentioned because I agree. I would like to see AD. I don't know if AD would do it because of his injury history,
yeah.
um, but I would like to see AD. I think from the current team, the two guys that I probably would be the most interested in seeing come back is Halliburton and Edwards.
Okay.
Just because I like both their games and they're young guys. Those are supposed to be the guys that carry the torch moving forward. Aside from them, I think Tatum, I think Booker, I think Jalen Brown. Um, we said Brown. Oh, Donovan Mitchell. I think
Yes.
Donovan Mitchell's another guy. Again, when we talk about who are supposed to be the torchbearers now, instead of KD and Braun and
Mhm.
Steph and Dame, Donovan Mitchell's supposed to be that next wave of guys who's supposed to kind of carry the tradition. So
Yeah.
those are some of the guys I can think off the top of my head. I'm trying to think who else if we're missing anybody. Oh, and then you never know. I mean, does Chet play for Team USA next year?
Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
He could fill out a roster spot. Don't we? Don't. Are they still taking one college player?
Not Chet's NBA now. This is
Oh no, I know
Oh,
that.
you
But
said, oh, nah, you don't have, nah, they're not doing that.
okay. I wouldn't mind seeing Chet play. If we just taking one of the young guys, yeah, Chet could definitely do it. I mean, I guess we'll see this season too. Who how things how the season goes too. I wouldn't mind seeing Mikal Bridges though back
I
as
wouldn't mind Mikel going back.
and I think that he's gonna show this season that he should go back. Like I think we're gonna see Mikal Bridges get to his first All-Star game this season and earn his way back to the Team USA roster. That's one. But yeah, I mean, listen, it's the Olympics, so I'm just like I know we're going to what we're going to do out there. We're not playing around in the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? Like 2004 was a huge embarrassment to the United States, to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? That was an embarrassment. And ain't nobody gonna want to be the team that says, yo, we let the goal slip away again. Nobody want to be part of a team like that again because we know how bad it was in 2004 when they didn't win. It was so bad that we had to call it the '08 team the redeem team.
Right.
That's how bad it was when the United States doesn't win the Olympics. Like that's how bad it is for us. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to see us just go back over there and dominate, just so we could just for the Noah Lyles, people people like that. Like it's not even fair when you put these players in the Olympics. It just is not fair. These are the best players in the world. They are that for a reason. It
Yeah,
is
and
it is what it is.
we also got to keep in mind too that we are everyone's Super Bowl. We are everyone's NBA Finals, right? When
Mhm.
they play us, they're going to give us their best effort, and we need to have guys who understand that type of pressure. Again, no disrespect to the Jalen Brunsons, and the Bridges and Edwards and those guys, but those guys are never in those situations in the NBA. So how do we expect them to handle that in international play when everybody's gunning for you and everybody's trying to drop 30 on your head and trying to eliminate you? That's why you need the big dogs, like Hoop said. You got to bring the big dogs in who know how to handle that type of pressure.
Yeah, honestly, it if if the world doesn't win FIBA, then it's really bad. Then that really tells you, like, you know
With
what I'm
this
saying?
team, we trotted out. Yeah, with this team, yeah.
Yeah, if the USA wins gold, and we know we're sending our B and C guys out for FIBA. If you let the US win gold in FIBA, that's that it's gonna get ugly for you in the Olympics. Like it's gonna be really bad. So all right, let's go to the WNBA, and then we're gonna get to college football right after that. So I'm gonna go to Hoop Ball of Scoops question. The WNBA season ended today. The playoffs start Wednesday. I want to get everyone's picks right now before the playoffs start. Even though the Aces probably won't have Candace Parker, I like them to repeat. Liberty beat them, but in the playoffs it's 0-0, and you open in Vegas. We ain't scared, and we want all the smoke. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Yes, they've been kicking the Aces butts, and they beat them in. Then they beat one of them. The last one they played them. They played them in the to win the cup. They beat them there. They played them again, smoked
They
them.
played them before we went on air last week with Nikki.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they've been kicking their butts like this, like the last couple of times they've played. I think, you know, New York started off slower than we thought they would, especially for bringing two former MVPs
Right.
together. They started off slower than what we expected. Because when I first saw that, and I told you, I said, yo, they might be the first New York team to win a chip with that roster, but they started off kind of slow. But now, and this is going back to that chemistry thing, it's a big deal. Now that things are clicking, the car is moving. Liberty is looking really good out there, and yes, and this not just a New York pick, because they have earned the right to be picked to win the WNBA championship. So yeah, I am going with the New York Liberty to take this thing home and bring the first professional basketball championship to New York in damn near 50 years.
I'm going to take the liberty as well. I'm biased, but I will say this, and we talked about this early in the season when the Aces were off to such a hot start. The WNBA playoffs are probably some of the most unpredictable playoffs that you have because it's a 2 out of 3. And all it takes for you to have a bad week and your season could be over. So I think, the Aces having the best regular season record, and to Deontay Pfeiffer's comment, never judged by the regular season. You're right. They have the best record. But who's to say they don't have a bad week to start the playoffs on Wednesday and they're out of there before they even advance? So if I had to choose, I'm gonna take the Liberty. I think the Liberty have been playing better ball down the stretch.
They're not playing the Aces in the in
No,
the
no, 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 no.
first
They're not
round.
playing in the first round.
Yeah, so and again, it's not, shout out to Deontay Pfeiffer, because yes, I do agree with your comment. But the thing is, the Liberty are heating up at the right time. The Aces have been getting a little bumpy road to end this. I would probably say like the last month and a half for the Aces has been up and down, because now it wasn't just the Liberty. They got beat by a couple of teams. I think their last 10 games, I just checked earlier, it was 7-3. New York was 9-1 in their last 10 games. So New York has been trending up, especially from the second half of the season on, because they were, I want to say, like 5 or 6 games back behind the Aces at one point. They finished the season a game behind them. So they're heating up at the right time. And I think that's more so what it is for me. The fact that they've been heating up going into the playoffs. And like we see this in other sports as well, where teams start off hot, but then they start bouncing around towards the end of the season, going into the playoffs, and then they lose teams that we feel like should have gone further. And the teams that start off slow but start picking up that steam, they got that momentum going, and
Mhm.
and they get the job done. So I'm going with New York for that. Yeah, and yeah, part of that is just my New York bias, but they deserve the bias in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased towards it. I'm not gonna lie, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I agree. You can't use the regular season as the end all be all to gauge who's going to get through the playoffs. Again, it's super tricky. It's a 2 out of 3. You
Yeah,
have, I'll keep saying it. You have a bad week and it's over real quick.
facts. So I'm listen. I'm supporting a little bit, and again, this ain't this ain't no wasn't no like yo old man because they got Breonna Stewart in this season. Or now we know we've actually been going to Liberty when the Liberty, what I'm saying, when they had their years where they would trash, we were going to games and supporting. Shout out to our good brother Sean Fontaine who
When
was
they were up in
working
Westchester,
in
when we was
West when
going
they
to
went
up in Westchester, yeah,
and we were going up to the games in Westchester. So this ain't no, we ain't just jump back on the bandwagon, this year because they got a crazy big three. No, we've been rocking with the Liberty, and I'm proud of them. Shout out to those women because they have shown up and shown out. It doesn't always work when you put big threes together. It doesn't always work, but from what we've seen so far, they've been playing very well. And again, they have finished the season strong, going 9-1 in their last 10 games. So yeah, I do like the Liberty to win the whole thing.
there you go.
Um, I'm gonna take Deontay Pfeiffer's comment here. Who's y'all WNBA season MVP? Asia Wilson, Brianna Stewart, or Alyssa Thomas? I'm probably gonna go with Asia Wilson. And I think it would be close between her and Brianna Stewart, but I think that Asia Wilson has had more individual moments this season. And especially, coming off, what was it, 54 points she just dropped a couple of games ago. I think she's had more of those moments. And she's been consistent from beginning of the season until the end of the season, even though the team as a whole kind of struggled a little bit, not really struggle, but they just weren't playing as
That's
dominant
dominant. Yeah,
they were the first half of the season. Whereas Brianna Stewart, they were on an uptick, but since things didn't start off as fast and look as dominant as they've been looking over the past month and a half of the season, maybe with a little more time, she could have probably surpassed Asia Wilson. But I think that Asia Wilson gets the nod as MVP.
I'm gonna go Asia Wilson, and I'm gonna use kind of the narrative or the logic that we use in the NBA: best player on the best team.
Yeah.
So I think that simplifies it a little bit. I agree with you. She's had some big individual moments, but when your team has the best record in the league and you're the best player on that team, it's easier to vote for you. We've seen it in the NBA, and I think the same will happen in the WNBA.
Yep, exactly. And because the votes are going to go in before we see who makes it deeper in the playoffs,
Right.
I think you kind of have to do that. All right. With that being said, really quick before we're gonna jump into college football, but I'm just gonna say this really quick. Lakers made a big move, bringing in Christian Wood for 2 years for the cheap, and the Sacramento Kings brought in JaVale McGee. So big shout out to both of those Cali teams improving their rosters, and now we can get to prime time. So I'm going back to the top of the comments. Shout out to Kyrie Thompson. We started off the show shouting you out. But now it's back to Kyrie's comments. Deion Sanders and the fellas 2-0. Y'all overall thoughts. I'm so happy for Prime. Eric, I'm gonna let you start with this one.
I mean, it's super easy. We have been big time advocates of Prime and big time defenders of everything Prime does when he first got to Jackson State.
Yes.
And now that he's at Colorado, we've been defending him there because, as you mentioned earlier in the show, Trip, it's a lot of haters out here. They don't
Mhm.
want to see you win. You know what I'm saying? But I think what Prime is doing is phenomenal. I think Prime is completely changing the landscape of college football and college athletics because he is showing that when you get a coach who can speak to the youth, who can gain the trust of the youth, and then not only get that part of it down, but then bring in a pro style coaching staff because he has coaches on his staff that were former head coaches at the collegiate level. So now it's like I can recruit the kids, I have their trust, they know what they're getting from me, and I'm putting you in the best program and the best situation to prepare you for that next phase of life, whether it be at the next level, the NFL, or just in life as a man. I think Prime is doing phenomenal things. I love to see it. They only won one game last year. He's already doubled that. They have an opportunity to go 3-0 next Saturday in a very winnable game. And then they get some tougher games against USC and against Oregon. But overall, I think this already has been a success for Prime. And one of the greatest things that Dion has done, and I meant to text you this yesterday, Trip, because I really had like a flashback moment. For anybody who's been a long-time Dion Sanders fan, like we have been, and I'm sure like Kyrie has been, you remember when Dion was at his just hitting his peak with Atlanta, and he used to have MC Hammer on the sideline, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the environment that it was creating now, where he was merging the worlds and he was merging the culture with professional sports. That's what Dion is doing now at Colorado and what he was starting to do at Jackson State as well. When you look at the sideline yesterday and you got Shannon Sharp, Michael Irvin, Cameron,
The
Stephen A. Smith,
Wu-Tang Clan.
the whole Wu-Tang, right? Now you're doing something bigger than just a sport. Now you're crossing over into a world where it's like now every athlete knows who you are, every mom and dad knows who you are, every casual sports fan knows who you are. It's going to be easier to recruit for Dion, but it's also shining a bigger light on these players and giving them an opportunity. I believe Jackson State has two guys from their team last year that made it to the NFL. So you're going to see those numbers continue to increase with every season that Dion coaches, whether it's at Colorado or he moves on somewhere else.
Yeah.
Kudos to Dion, man, and we rooting for him, man. We would love nothing more than for him to make it to the BCS playoffs in his first year at Colorado.
Facts. Um, man, what can I say about Deion Sanders? Done it the biggest and the brightest on every level in multiple sports, uh, World Series, Super Bowls, and now tackling coaching. Is nothing short of amazing what Deion Sanders has done, and he's doing it his way, which I love even more because it shows, there's more than one way to skin a cat. We can there's more than one way to win a football game. Everybody doesn't have to be buttoned up to the collar with a suit and tie on the coach. Everybody doesn't have to always be politically correct. It's okay to swag on them if you want to. It is sports. That's what you do in sports. When you can back it up. You got to back it up though. But when you can back it up, go ahead, man. Go ahead and talk your talk. This is who Deion Sanders is who he's always been, and it's what has allowed him to win at the highest levels. And of course that's gonna draw a lot of hate because a lot of people don't like to see that flashiness. That you talking that talk, especially when you're talking about from a brother who was out there talking his stuff, but he has those kids backing it up. We saw it from Jackson State where he won back-to-back SWAC championships, was coach of the year out there, and now we're seeing it, to start the season in Colorado, and coaches around college football are going to continue to get mad because as they continue to win it. And congratulations on the Nebraska win. I'm gonna put Javon Pastor's comment up here right now. Big win for them against Nebraska in their home opener. Uh, you know, because a lot of cats been hating, but more guys are going to continue to go to Colorado to play for Deion Sanders because we're talking about a team that was 1-11 last year. They're already 2-0 to start this season. They were unranked last year. They're already ranked in the top 20, and they started the season off not being ranked at all, went in and beat the team that was just playing in the national championship game a season ago. Even though they lost, and they got a couple of players that graduated, but they still went in there and beat the 17th ranked team
Mm-hmm.
in college football to start this season. Come right back around to beat Nebraska, and they beat the brakes off of them in that second half. You know what I'm saying? So people are going to continue to be mad at Deion Sanders, and we're going to continue to support him. We're going to continue, you know what I'm saying, to wish those young cats well. Shador, I know everybody is out, has been talking about, the talk has been about Caleb, was Caleb Williams,
Mm-hmm.
but Shador is coming. Uh,
Shador is phenomenal, and Shador, I believe there's some draft experts that are already saying right now he's already projected to be like a mid first round pick. Like he's worked himself into a first round pick.
And it's only going to get better as they continue to progress. The young man threw for 510 yards and 4 touchdowns to no interceptions against TCU, against Nebraska, 300 plus yards, 2 touchdowns passing to no interceptions, and a rushing touchdown. And then, shout out to all of those guys because they have all stepped up. But then you got Travis Hunter, who was out there damn near doing the impossible, playing both sides of the football, which is
Another
something
120 snaps, bro.
we,
Crazy.
and it's something that we are not used to seeing. We do not see guys playing both sides of the football the way they are.
Not
Especially,
that many snaps though. That's the thing. He's
yeah,
like full time on both ends of the ball. You
yes,
see, like when Charles Woodson won the Heisman, Charles Woodson played some offensive snaps.
but it will
But
not like this.
right, you're talking, like I said, 60 plus snaps on defense, and then turning right back around and playing another 60 plus snaps on offense.
That's Heisman worthy. Same thing with Shador. Both of those two gentlemen are starting the season off putting up Heisman worthy performances, and it's not
Hey,
like he's doing bad on either side of the ball. He caught an interception already in the first game against TCU and had over 100 yards receiving.
yeah,
Who the hell else is doing that? Who else has got 100 receiving yards and an interception in the same game? It just doesn't happen because coaches are not putting their players in to play both sides of the football. And that's another reason why Deion Sanders is going to continue to get top recruits to come to his program. Just
yeah.
another reason why.
And
Outside of
listen,
all of the magic, all the people you just mentioned that was at that game today at the home opener. And on top of that, from the numbers have been astronomical of ticket sales after that TCU game.
they were already breaking records. Remember, they had sold out their spring practice.
Yes.
They had sold. I mean, they were yes. So the ticket sales for that game yesterday were the 12th highest paid ticket price in NCAA football history.
Mm-hmm.
That was his home opener.
You can't beat that, bro.
Yesterday, mind you, the primetime game yesterday was Alabama, Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was more money bet on Colorado's game than the Alabama, Texas game, which to let you know how much people are really tuning into what's going on with Colorado, where the betting public is now fully engaged. Um, the haters ain't gonna go away though, and Prime knows that because they have 9 games left on their schedule. 6 of those 9 games are gonna be right now. 6 of those 9 games are against ranked opponents.
Mm-hmm.
After they play Colorado State next week, we may be in for a beautiful night trip because you and I are preparing to go to the Ravens game on the 24th. On the
Yes.
23rd, it's going to be a primetime game. The 23rd,
Mm-hmm.
Colorado will be traveling to Oregon. Oregon right now is the 13th ranked team, and Oregon's probably going to move up with their win yesterday. So it's very possible that by the time Colorado faces Oregon in 2 weeks, both those teams are top 15, maybe even top 12 teams when that matchup happens. Then the week after that, they get USC that comes to Colorado, which is going to be a showdown of Heisman hopefuls because, as
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned, Caleb Williams, Shador, and Travis Hunter will be all on the field.
Yep.
So the haters ain't going to go anywhere. The haters are still going to continue to doubt Prime. But if he finds a way to win, first of all, don't let him win them 2 games. Don't let Colorado beat Oregon and USC because sports media will explode. Sports media will not know how to act. But if he finds a way to just win one of those games,
Mm-hmm.
it completely validates everything. It's the debate is over, it's done.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say about Prime if they're able to find a way to beat one of those 2 teams who both have national championship aspirations.
And on top of that, when I check the schedule, they have more games against ranked opponents than a lot of the guys that were in the top 10 in the rankings.
Well, because they're part of the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 is very stacked this year. As we mentioned, Oregon, you got USC, you got Oregon State, you got UCLA, you got Washington State, and then you got Utah. Like, just to give you a heads up, like I said, USC is number 5 right now. Oregon is 13, Utah is 12, Washington State is 23, UCLA is 24. Like these are the teams that they have on their schedule. So it's not going to get easier. But
So
the fact that they've handled their business already, they They open as heavy favorites against Colorado State. They 23.5 point favorites against Colorado State. Oh, by the way, that's already been moved to a primetime game. That's a 10 o'clock start next
Yeah.
Saturday. They
They're
want the
gonna,
world
they're
to
gonna,
watch.
they're gonna have a lot of those games this
They
season.
want the world to watch next Saturday against Colorado State,
Yeah.
and that's on ESPN.
And I'm glad that they had that shootout versus TCU and that game went down to the wire because it's going to sometimes it's going to come down to that shootout and you got to show that you can be the last team standing. So I'm glad they had that to start the season off and were able to get out of there with the win, because that's going to help them a lot moving forward this season, especially when you start playing more of those ranked opponents. I texted you a couple of days ago. Vegas had them at the over under at 3 games, 3 wins this season.
Yep.
Whoever put that one together, he might want to sit him down for a minute because
Well, yeah, because
they coming. Colorado is coming. Don't bet against Dion, man. Don't
I
bet
think people, again, like I said, there are a lot of people who only focus on the fact that Dion is the face of this whole thing. But Dion is so smart, he realizes he is the motivator. He's the guy who can get you ready to play. We hear the speeches all the time, and you look at the comment section, you see the people saying, "I'm ready to go suit up right now for prom."
Yep.
But this is where Dion's true genius is. It's in the hiring of his coaching staff. Both his coordinators were head coaches at the college level before.
Mm-hmm.
You right? So he is assembling this group of great football minds to come up with the game plan so that obviously his son maximizes his potential, but the team as a whole is able to maximize their potential. Everybody's focused on Dion, but Dion in his brilliance is saying, yeah, look at me. Don't pay attention to my assistants, though. Don't pay attention to this guy who was a college football head coach for 5 years and this guy who's a college football coach for 10 years. Don't look at those guys.
Fooled you.
Yeah, right. Keep looking at me while they continue to game plan this whole thing.
Yeah. And he's very smart. You want to win big, you got to put a team around you that can do that. And he put together a very good coaching staff. And again, and it ain't just about the coaches. These kids have a lot of talent. The kids that he brought with him from Jackson, first of all, Shador was a 4-star quarterback in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Let's you know what I'm saying? Travis Hunter was the second ranked player in the country when he made the decision to bypass every Power 5 school, and every school in the country wanted that young man, and he said, no, I'm going to play for Deion Sanders in an HBCU, and it's still going to be a first-round draft pick whenever he goes.
Yeah. And also his son Shiloh was at the University of South Carolina before he decided to transfer over with his dad. So it's not like his son who plays on the defensive side of the ball was a slouch either.
Exactly. So they got players. The running back that came over with them,
Edwards. Yep.
Edwards. They got a lot of talented kids. It ain't like he got the bad news bears out there and it's just coaching, you know what I'm saying, that's getting these guys. No, these kids are talented, super talented, top players, and they're showing that now. They showed it at Jackson State, and now, y'all thought because it was just the HBCU, we could just go up in there and dominate, and that was going to be it. No, these kids are top players, and they're going to show it now on the highest level in college football, playing for Colorado. And I love it. I support it, and I want to see more of it. Congratulations to Coach Prime. Congratulations to Colorado. Keep this thing going and keep talking your talk and winning games the way y'all win games and the way y'all play football. Haters is going to be out there regardless.
Yep.
So it is what it is. Really quick because it's about to be game time. You know the Giants is playing tonight.
Yeah.
Let me just shout out Coco Golf. Wins her first Grand Slam tournament. She won the U.S. Open. So proud of her. The youngest since Serena Williams did it at 17. She's 19 years old right now. So big shout out to her. And shout out to Sean Strickland, who beat the champ in an upset, Israel Adesanya, in UFC 293. That was a big upset. But shout out to him, man. He came there, did what he had to do. I'm gonna throw this last comment up from Deontay Pfeiffer on the screen. I loved y'all last few guests. The Avery girl has personality. Did y'all get in touch with Renee? Yes, Renee was actually going to come on the show with Nikki, but we just couldn't work out the schedule. But she's going to be coming on. As I said last week, when we get into the thick of things in the WNBA playoffs, we're going to have Renee come on the program as well. Also, shout out to Justin Biggs. He's going to come back on the show soon as well. He has another fight coming up. He just won a fight not too long ago, but he has another fight coming up. They had a press conference yesterday in Brooklyn. I we couldn't make it down. I couldn't make it down because I was working yesterday. But they have reached out. They definitely are gonna want to come back onto the platform soon as well. So big shout out to Justin Biggs. Eric, you want to give us a final thought?
As always, man, we appreciate everybody who's locked in with us and tuning in with us, man. It's football season, so we're gonna ramp things up even more. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're rocking with us, and we greatly appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you guys next week, and we definitely working on lining up some more guests for you guys, man, because you guys have really been showing out for us. Like when we explain to people what it's looking like now, they don't quite understand until they're on the live with us, and then they see the questions just continue to get flooded in. So your participation is greatly appreciated, man. Just keep rocking with us, and we just looking forward to what the future holds.
Facts. I'm gonna just say once again, I'm gonna reiterate that, man. Much love to our supporters. We truly appreciate y'all because y'all give us the energy boost that we need. Sometimes we be tired, we got other things going on, but y'all give us the energy boost that we need on Sundays or whichever day, because sometimes we rotate, but y'all definitely give us the energy boost that we need. With that being said, make sure you guys are locked in with us on all our social media, facebook.com/real fans real talk. Twitter, Instagram at Real Fan Talk. Y'all see the YouTube channel up there, youtube.com/For the Fans Productions. And do not worry if you're not in New York City on Thursday nights and you can't watch us on TV on Verizon 43. It is okay. You can watch us still from anywhere in the world. All you have to do is go to realfansrealtalk.com, click that red button on the homepage. We're actually going to start running the lives through the Real Fans Real Talk website as well. So you'll have another channel that you can go on and watch the lives when we do our lives on weekends. And also make sure you guys are subscribed to the Sanchez Show and the Real Fans Real Talk podcast. We are streaming on all major platforms. This is the 8-time award-winning sports news and talk show, Real Fans Real Talk. With that being said, for myself, Trip Young, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games, we up out of here.
We see
Peace.
y'all next week.
Yes, sir.